There was a fine misunderstanding between us yesterday. The Maori chap I was talking to, a Christian guy, who was, we were at loggerheads with each other. And I wasn't receiving, the antagonism. But in a way, I was, because I was reacting to what I perceived as a closed mind dogmatism. What I hate in religion. And I was coming across it in circumstances that just wasn't valid to be him seeing me in the light he was seeing me. But in a sense it was understandable because I'm giving all the wrong vibes. The tall, intellectual European to the Maori who's had anything but a privileged background. And I'm trying to explain to the older lady that, and she couldn't get it, that, to begin with, that what you see as privilege, you actually do believe in your heart that it is privilege and it is benefit and it is blessing, but it's not. It not only doesn't satisfy, it literally does not satisfy. It's just discontent. You're a wealthy, successful European businessman, say, and your wife loves you for your success. And if you go bankrupt tomorrow, she's going to leave you. She doesn't love you for you see. She's not devoted to you. You're alone. You've got friends around you by the million. They all want some of the power and prosperity, money to rub off on them. And they come to your cocktail party because you're paying, you're providing, you're making them feel they're part of the in crowd. The kudos, whatever it is rubbing off on you. The patronage is rubbing off on them. So they're all around you like flies, and they all vanish if you become not the flavour of the month. You see? Yes, you are in a huge house, but it's just the two of you. The kids don't love you. Don't know why. They don't love you. They don't appreciate all I've done for them. And they're all doing their thing around the world, just calling back when they need more cash. And the wife doesn't love me. I'm alone. I've got all the success and I'm alone. That's the reality. You see, it's not privilege. And you could meet up with a family in India in poverty and they're more happy than you are. They're joyful. They have family. Do you see? I don't mean all poor people are joyful and have family. Far from it. Life is wretched. I'm just saying life is wretched without God. Not is much better if you're well off. No, it's a different form of wretchedness. But it's still what the Buddha calls suffering. Enough to commit suicide. Enough to despair. Enough to develop all the illnesses that eventually kill you. And I was trying to get through to this lady that, it looked like I had everything. And my dad and mum had everything. She had the looks and he had the money. And I had the house I was enjoying as their child, their only child. But in fact I was rejected by Dad. I mean, he didn't even like using my name. He wouldn't use it. Called me boy, not Marshall. And I was scared of what would happen when Mum and Dad are always not quite fighting physically, but always rowing. And I was scared what would happen to Mum. And she wanted to commit suicide all the time. Not all the time, but you know what I mean. So often. And a kiddie can't really cope with that, but has to. And he's no brothers and sisters to turn to, of course. It's just him. Do you see the envy that people had for my dad? Well, if they knew how much his wife hated him, and that he was alone in the world, and it was all shallow. A prosperity that was shallow of what life really needs, which is love and appreciation. To be held in high regard, to be glorified, to be valued, to be appreciated. It wasn't appreciated. It was self-interest that was having people appreciate him for what they could get. And he knows this. You know, he can find them a job in London. He can help them. He can give them money. If he can be persuaded to do it. And he was a very generous chap. To some extent he could, and did. And they liked him for it. But you know, to lose this position of power and position, would they still be there? No, they'd be chasing someone else who might offer the same. Not love, do you see? We need love and appreciation. We need it. Because we don't feel safe if we haven't got that. Because the things of this world pass away. And you know, if they do pass away, the wife leaves you and the job and the money go and the house goes. Who's going to rescue you if there's no love? And your experience is that there isn't love. Well, that's a nightmare. So I was trying to say to this lady, it's not the privilege you think it is. You think it's green and lovely because it's the other side of the fence and you've not experienced it. But when you're in there, it's got the thinness of ground cover that you've got on your side. It's not half as green when you get here. And yours, even in India, say, can be looking quite good from my point of view, and I see you happy and smiling and laughing and having fun with other people, despite your poverty and lack of the riches that I'm enjoying. We're both puzzled, not clear what's going on, you see, and we need to be, so that we can empathise, so that we can understand and appreciate and love the other person, not just envy them and hate them for the way they seem to be exploiting their position and you're suffering as a consequence. Yeah. Thank you, Heavenly Father. And somehow that lady did soften on me, and of course I softened on the lady too. I got through. That was the loveliness about it. I probably got through because those two ladies praying, the other two. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Heavenly Father. If you envy and reject any person, you do them a great disservice, a great cost. Material affluence and prosperity does not mean they are privileged with what really matters to them in life. they can be in as much poverty in that regard as anyone else. And if you are envying them because of their material position of privilege, then you are actually being worldly yourself, because you're saying that material things really do matter, when in fact they don't. If they did matter, God would have given all his children all the great material wealth. And you can say in a sense that he has done that if you look at some societies. You know, a large number of Western societies are incredibly privileged with material wealth. And they're not happier for it, or at least they're not happier particularly than those in poorer countries. Don't get me wrong, I mean, they're not all wealthy. There's a lot of poverty in wealthy nations. And poverty is to some extent relative, of course. And they're not all unhappier, any more than all of the poor are happy. Far from it. You see, we're all here with a need. Well, God wouldn't have us here. We believe that a loving God is allowing this to good purpose. We trust him for it. We do what we can to contribute in the way that we feel we should be doing, and in what calls upon our sympathy and understanding and experience, we give accordingly.